Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Jules Kounde is our number one target for the summer transfer window. According to Spanish outlet La Razón, we are considered the favourites to sign him. We are prepared to pay £61 million for Jules Kounde. Jules Kounde's performances this season for Sevilla have been outstanding. He's made 71 appearances for Sevilla. I think he's got a £70 million release clause. He's under contract with Sevilla until 2024. Sevilla paid £22 million for him from Bordeaux in the summer of 2019. So he has been at Sevilla now almost 2 years. Do you think he would go very, very well alongside Harry Maguire in our back line? A new centre-back is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's priority. And it recently said we had a 5-man centre-back shortlist. Earlier on today, I give you the news on Federico Valverde from Real Madrid. The Sun said that we are eyeing a move for Federico Valverde as a possible replacement for Paul Pogba. Federico Valverde has a £148 million release clause in his contract with Real Madrid. His contract ends in 2025. He's 22 years of age and he's predominantly a box-to-box midfielder. I don't think he's played that yet this year because he has been out with a muscle injury. Before he was at Real Madrid, he was at Penarol, and he also had a loan spell with Deportivo La Coruña. There's a possible swap deal between Federico Valverde and Paul Pogba. We have now revealed our asking price for Paul Pogba. We do want £100 million. Now, Manchester United should finish in the top 4 this season. Top 4 is now our aim because obviously we're not going to win the Premier League title. A lot of Manchester United fans have disregarded the title. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said after our 1-1 draw with West Brom that we are still in the title race. And he said we will not settle for second in the title race. But that's Solskjaer playing mind games. Because Solskjaer made an admission, don't forget, after our 3-3 draw with Everton, and said we shouldn't be considered as title chasers. I don't know if we're going to win a title under Solskjaer. I think we will win another title at some point, but I don't know when. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013, so we haven't won it now for like 8 years. I think for us to be title contenders, we've obviously got to make more signings. You know, we've got to start beating some of the big teams as well because we've struggled against the top 6 sides in the Premier League this season. People say you've got to beat the top 6 sides if you are to be genuine title contenders. But like I say, revert back to what I said. We need top 4. I'm very, very sceptical that we'll finish out of the top 4. But we could easily drop out. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows how important it is to win his first trophy as Manchester United manager, and he's obviously got to win a trophy to avoid the sack. You know, the FA Cup is a chance of a trophy. We're into the quarterfinals of that, but Leicester is going to be a tough game. And the Europa League is a chance of a trophy. We have not won a trophy since 2017. You know, a club of our stature need to be winning trophies. We have been out of form recently. You know, we've only won one of our last 5 league games. So we're enjoying a pretty bad period at the moment. We've enjoyed a few bad periods though under Ole. You know, earlier on this season we was very, very poor. I've got to say, earlier on this season we deserve credit for sticking with Solskjaer because it was looking very, very imminent that he was going to get sacked. The first part of last season, we enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. But I do still believe that we've got to stick with Ole for now. I think Solskjaer is going to be given at least another season at the football club. This is his 3rd season and his 2nd full season. He's been Manchester United manager now for over 2 years. We appointed Solskjaer in December 2018 to replace Mourinho. In his first 3 months at the club, he was the interim manager. Did very, very well as interim manager, won 14 games out of 19 in all competitions, so obviously the club decided to give him the job permanently back in March 2019. A lot of United fans did say we're giving the job too soon. Solskjaer has managed over 100 games as Man United manager in all competitions. But I don't know if he is the long-term manager. Now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's future is in doubt because Solskjaer recently admitted that he's still waiting to open talks over a new contract. Now, it said the other week that we will wait until the end of this season to begin contract talks with Solskjaer. It says we could offer him a new 2-year deal. That's if we get qualification for the Champions League, and that's if we still continue pushing for the title. Solskjaer is into the final 18 months of his current contract. He signed a 3-year deal back in March 2019. Does Solskjaer deserve a new contract? We have been pretty poor recently, but I think Solskjaer's made fantastic progress, you know, in recent months. You know, in some games, Solskjaer's got the best out of the players. Performances have also improved in recent months. You know, we've got a fantastic away record in the Premier League. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. The last time we lost away from home in the Premier League was to Liverpool back in January 2020. You know, Solskjaer deserves credit because he got us to the FA Cup quarter-final. We progressed to the quarter-finals for the 7th consecutive year. He got us to the EFL Cup semi-final this season. Lost that to Man City 2-0. Despite our reluctance to back Solskjaer with transfers, I think he has still made good signings as Man United manager. He's spent over £200 million at the club. You know, the players he's brought in is Daniel James, Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire. He's also brought Bruno Fernandes in. He did bring Odion Ighalo in on loan, but Ighalo's no longer at the club now. And in the summer transfer window of last year, he brought Donny van der Beek in, Alex Telles, Edison Cavani, Facundo Palestre and Amad Diallo Traore. I also like the way that Solskjaer has promoted the youth. But obviously Solskjaer hasn't got all the players that he wanted to recommend in. And obviously, you know, the blame stems from the board. The board has been one of the biggest problems at the club for several years, reflecting how poor our recruitment policy's been. We've also overpaid for players, and the board haven't backed any of the managers enough that we've had since Ferguson retired. But Woodward has come out several times to support Ole, even when we've enjoyed bad periods. And he did say towards the end of last year he will back Solskjaer with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. A lot of United fans have been very critical of the board for so long now. You know, you've had Woodward at the club since 2012 and you've had the Glazers at the club since 2005. Solskjaer has endured 4 transfer windows as permanent Man United manager. Solskjaer deserves credit for what he did last season in his first full season. Got us to 3 semi-finals. Got us 3rd place, the second highest we've finished since Ferguson. And he got us qualification for the Champions League. I've already told you, my biggest concern about Solskjaer is his decision making. Because in a lot of his games at Manchester United, he has been tactically naive. But there's also been some games where he has showed tactical flexibility. And I think there's a few things Solskjaer's got to do at the club. You know, I think he's got to identify his best 11 because he doesn't know his best 11. He should do now, though, with how long he's been at the club. He certainly needs to give Donny van de Beek more opportunities. I think Solskjaer's got to drop Martial. I think he needs to give Rashford a rest because he hasn't been in the best form. He hasn't been in best form recently. Probably needs to drop David De Gea. You know, Gary Neville recently come out and said that Solskjaer must deal with the goalkeeper situation, and Neville's actually urged us to get a world-class goalkeeper to replace De Gea. And Jamie Carragher's also told Solskjaer to drop De Gea and give Dean Henderson a run in goal. And Solskjaer's got to get his selections right persistently. But this year's summer transfer window is very, very important for Manchester United because we've got to make more signings. Solskjaer did say our summer transfer plans could be affected by the pandemic, but you know, I'm still expecting us to do business. It said not so long ago that we are prepared to smash our transfer record in the summer. And it said Ed Woodward set to hand Solskjaer a huge war chest to sign top players in all areas. But we've got to get the right players in because I think a lot of the players we have brought in since Ferguson retired haven't been the right calibre players for Man United. And we've brought around 37 players in since Ferguson retired. And we've certainly got to get qualification for the Champions League to attract players to the highest level. Because if we don't get qualification for the Champions League, then we're going to find it hard to get the players we want. It was a disappointing January transfer window for Man United because we only saw one arrival, and that was Amad Diallo Traore. By the way, Amad Diallo Traore is part of the first team squad for the game against Real Sociedad in the Europa League tomorrow. I think he'll be a good asset for the first team because Amad Diallo Traore has been doing very, very well for the under-23s. And also, Shaw Tyre is part of the first team squad for the game against Real Sociedad. But anyway, Solskjaer did say a few times during the January transfer window that I wasn't expecting any signings. We was focusing a lot more on the outgoings in January rather than the incomings. Solskjaer's got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he got recommended in. You know, we saw a few players leave in January. We saw Jesse Lingard go out on loan to West Ham. We saw Teden Mengi go out on loan. We saw Palestri go out on loan. We saw Marcus Rojo leave the club. We saw Timothy Fosu-Mensah leave. And we saw Odion Ighalo leave. And I think more players will leave Man United in the summer transfer window. Like I said, there's a good chance that Juan Mata will leave in the summer. His current contract expires in the summer. We do have an option to trigger his contract for a further year. Solskjaer made an admission earlier on this season and said that Juan Mata's future is uncertain. Juan Mata doesn't even get in our 11 now. I think he's had a good career at Man United. Mata's been at the club now over 6 years. You know, Mata's made over 200 appearances in all competitions and he's scored 50 goals. We got him in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2014. Earlier on this season, he rejected an £18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. Like I said, there's a good chance Pogba will leave in the summer. Do you think we'll offload Matic in the summer? Because Matic isn't one of our first choice midfielders, but despite that, he's still getting his opportunities, is Matic. And he's had some good games as a Man United player, but I've always had my reservations about him because he's always been a slow player, plus he's aging up now. He's been at Man United now nearly 4 years. We got Matic in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2017. Could Daniel James depart the club in the summer because he's lost his place in the team as well? He doesn't get in our 11, James. There was narratives about him going out on loan in the January transfer window. Leeds United were the ones that wanted him. Phil Jones, I'm expecting him to leave the club this year. I'm surprised Phil Jones didn't leave in the January transfer window, but Solskjaer did say he's going to give Phil Jones a second chance. Phil Jones has been out of injury for the past 12 months. This is Jones' 10th season at the club, so he has been a long servant. He's the only outfield player that's here since Sir Alex Ferguson. I don't know what's been happening with Sergio Romero, by the way. But I've got to say, despite us being poor recently, I think probably Solskjaer is the best manager since Ferguson. I can definitely assure he was a much better manager than David Moyes. But we haven't been the same team since Ferguson. Like I've said to you before, no one's going to replicate what Ferguson did at the club. You know, Ferguson won over 30 trophies, including 13 Premier League titles. And he enjoyed 27 years at the club, Ferguson. No one's going to last as long as he did either. Ferguson didn't settle in straight away, though, because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at Manchester United. But 3 managers have been sacked since Ferguson retired, and that was David Moyes, Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho. You know, Solskjaer is still inheriting some players from other managerial eras. But I think these players that are really improving at Manchester United. You know, I think Dean Henderson is improving. He's done well in the games he's played in this season. And I think at some point Dean Henderson will become our number 1 goalkeeper. Because he's reliable enough now to become our number 1 goalkeeper because he has got that experience behind him. He endured 2 successful loans with Sheffield United. And before the start of this season, Henderson signed a 6-year contract with Man United, so he committed his future with the club. Solskjaer recently admitted that it's becoming more and more difficult to leave Dean Henderson out of the side. I think Wan-Bissaka's also improving. There's been some games this season where he's got forward well, he's got into good positions, he's put good crosses in. I think he still needs to get forward a bit more though. Defensively, Wan-Bissaka's always been superb. This is Wan-Bissaka's second season at Man United. Full season. We've got Wan-Bissaka in a deal worth £50 million from Palace in the summer of 2019. There's a foreseeable future for Man United. You know, Luke Shaw, he's really improving. You know, he's creating chances for his teammates. He's getting in good positions. He's crossing the ball well. And defensively, Luke Shaw's been superb. And Luke Shaw still remains our first choice left back, despite the arrival of Alex Telles last summer. Shaw's had a good career at Man United, apart from the injuries he's had. Luke Shaw's been at the club now over 6 years. Eric Bailly, I think he's a very good centre-half and he's done well in the games he's played in this season. You know, Bailly intercepts the ball well. He shows that ability to play out from the back and he's very effective in the air. But he's too injury prone, is Eric Bailly. But yeah, Bailly needs to come back into the team and we need to drop Lindelof. Did I forget to mention that earlier on? Lindelof's too much of a liability. I've got to say, Fred is doing very well this season. He's had some bad games. Weren't so good on his 100th appearance for the club against West Brom. But when Fred's played well this season, he's showed good attacking intent. He's broke up the play well. He's got forward well. His passing's getting better. Fred's been at the club now a few years. We got Fred in a deal worth £52 million from Shakhtar Donetsk. I've got to say, he was a world-class player in Ukraine. You know, in recent months, Paul Pogba has really improved. In the last few months, probably enjoyed his best period since he rejoined Manchester United. We've obviously got Paul Pogba out with a thigh injury at the moment. I think he's going to be out for the next few weeks. He's going to be a big miss. Earlier on this season, Pogba had an ankle injury and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. You know, Donny van de Beek is a good player when he plays. Donny van de Beek has played nowhere near as much as I expected. You know, most of his appearances have come from the bench. He's only started 2 games in the league, and that was West Ham and Southampton. You know, Solskjaer, not so long ago, promised Donny van de Beek more game time at the club because Ole made an admission saying that Van de Beek's unhappy at Man United with his lack of game time. We need to play him more. You know, we got Van de Beek in a deal worth £40 million. We paid £35 million up front and there was £5 million in add-ons. And he's got a contract with the club till 2025. You can put him in 3 different roles. But he said from ESPN during the January transfer window that we rejected several loan offers for him because we was reluctant to let him go. Bruno Fernandes, he's been exceptional since we got him. He's made a difference in the team. Got to say he's our best player and he's probably the best signing we've made since Ferguson. In most of Bruno Fernandes' games at Manchester United, he has been very consistent. But there has been a few games where he has looked off the pace. You know, he weren't so good against West Brom recently, apart from the fantastic volley he scored. You know, Fernandes has won Player of the Month now quite a few times, reflecting on his good performances. Bruno Fernandes did say on his 12-month anniversary that he's planning on spending many years at Manchester United. Fernandes is under contract with the club until 2025. He denies that he needs a rest because he wants to help the club win trophies. You know, Mason Greenwood, he's done very well since he broke into the first team. And he's done very well recently, despite scoring. Mason Greenwood usually plays on that right-hand side. Now, I give you the news yesterday, didn't I? Mason Greenwood signed a new 4-year contract with the club. That keeps him under contract at Man United until June 2025. There's an option to extend for a further year. Greenwood's been at the club since the age of 7. He's made 82 first-team appearances. Earlier on this season, didn't really have much of a perception on Greenwood, because obviously he was in and out of the team. But Solskjaer has been defending him a lot. Mason Greenwood has got a lot of development in him. Marcus Rashford, I think he's a very good player. He's enjoyed pad periods. Hasn't been great recently, Marcus Rashford. Like I said, I want us to rest him, but we won't rest him. We need to keep Marcus Rashford out wide, because that's where he's more effective. We need to keep him on that left. He's much more effective on the left than he is on the right. Before, we have played Rashford centrally, because you can play him centrally. Rashford has been part of the club for several years. Edinson Cavani, like I said, since he's come in, he's made a fantastic impact. I like the way Edinson Cavani holds up the play. His movement in and out of the box is very good. He creates chances and he scores goals. But he's in his 30s, is Edinson Cavani, so he's obviously short term. We got him on a free transfer last summer. He signed a 1-year contract with Man United with an option of a second year. Cavani wasn't so good though recently against West Brom. He was quiet for the vast majority of the game and he lacked chances. And that seldom happens when it comes to a player like Edinson Cavani. But I said when we got Cavani, he will be the next Zlatan Ibrahimovic. So, there you go. On my next video, I'll be giving you my reaction to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference ahead of our game against Real Sociedad in the Europa League round of 32 first leg. He's done his press conference. I've already given you my preview for the game. I've given you my starting 11 prediction. I'm expecting Solskjaer to rotate for this game. Like I said, the Europa League is a priority for us. We got to the semi-finals last season, lost to Sevilla 2-1. And we won the Europa League back in 2017 under Jose Mourinho. We beat Ajax in the final 2-0. As you all know, it's going to be played in Turin the first leg due to travel restrictions in Spain. It's obviously with COVID and that. Real Sociedad are a pretty good team, so it won't be easy for us. On paper, I think we'll be the favourites. Real Sociedad are 5th in La Liga. Their current manager is Emmanuel Alguacil. Finally pronounced his name correctly. Some will pronounce it wrong. I know a few of their players. They've obviously got David Silva. They brought him in last year on a free from City. They've got Carlos Fernandes. They brought him in back in January. They've got Monreal, they've got Roberto Navrio, they've got Roberto Lopez. They've got Adnan Januzaj, former Manchester United player. So he'll be reuniting with the club tomorrow, but Adnan Januzaj's come out and said he's got nothing to prove on, his reunion with Man United. Sociedad as well have got a few injuries. The second leg at Old Trafford is on the 25th of February. The last time we played Sociedad was back in the Champions League group stage in 2013. After Sociedad, it is Newcastle. We should be beating Newcastle because Newcastle are a very, very poor team. It is at Old Trafford against Newcastle. Newcastle haven't beaten us at Old Trafford since 2013. They did beat us 1-0 at Old Trafford back in 2013. It was a goal from Kabay. We did beat Newcastle 4-1 last season at home. We're beating them at St James's Park earlier on this season 4-1. Newcastle's current manager is Steve Bruce. I think he's been at Newcastle now over a year. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.